I'm very lucky. I was able to quit the rat race at just 44 years of age. However, there are a few things that I'd wish I'd known before I made that giant leap. The 4 years that followed were not easy, even though I had plenty of money and plenty of spare time. In this video, I'd like to get into some of them, just in case you're at the point of retiring. These are the things that I think you ought to think about. Here's the takeaway, the advice that I would give anybody if they're approaching retirement, if they're approaching their 50s, or if they're approaching retirement and they're approaching their 60s. This is the simple piece of advice I can give you. Have something to retire to, and make sure you give significant thought to it for about 12 months. And I'm not talking about money here, because you'll have all done that bit. You'll have planned your money. That's why you're in a point where you want to retire. What I'm talking about is something that's going to fill your days and give you purpose. Particularly if you're some high-powered executive or you've been in a leadership position. If you go from that to nothing, it's going to be very tough on you. So think what you're going to go to. Spend 12 months at least exploring that. And if you want, you can talk to me about it. I'll leave a link in the description. I've actually got a thing called a Freedom Income Roadmap, where I actually spend 90 minutes with you unlocking all that sort of stuff, going through all your strengths and helping you decide what you should do in your second act. If you're not interested, just keep watching my free videos. You'll find them useful, I'm sure. There's a lot of knowledge in there. The second thing, take a good long look at yourself and your personality type. Now, I knew very well that I was an ISTJ logistician because I'd done loads of personality tests over the years, so I knew that. But this is what I didn't do. I didn't have a think about what are the types of things that would suit an ISTJ logistician. I'm getting the hang of it now, not as tongue-tied. What would that type of person be good at? And some of the things I chose were not suited to that type of personality, and that was the problem. I chose things that were probably more suited to an extrovert personality that required the ability to go out and network among people and even sell. You know, selling, a big part of the things that I chose, because your business consulting, you're going to have to get out there and network, and you're going to have to then sell yourself one-to-one. You're not the only business consultant they're likely to be looking at. You're probably in a beauty parade of a few. Even though I'd had a background in recruitment, I wouldn't necessarily say I was a particularly good salesman. That was one of the mistakes I made, not lining up the type of work to my personality type. This YouTube channel, this is the first time that I've actually aligned my personality type to something. And for example, here I am today. I'm sat by the banks of the River Wharfe near Wetherby making a video, but can you tell something that's important? There are no people. No people. I'm not selling to anybody. You could argue that mentioning my Freedom Income Roadmap earlier is selling, but to be perfectly frank with you, I've got more than enough interest in that. I don't have to sell it. You know, people book in and they'll have a 90-minute chat with me, so I'm not selling anything there. I'm just giving people an outlet to explore what they can do if they're at that stage of life. So that's not selling, but this is great. This suits my personality type. The other thing that I think is important, think about what you're going to do more specifically with your days. And what I mean by that is structure. You'll have probably come from an environment that's very structured. Certainly mine was. Starting early, finishing late, lots of meetings, well structured, time plans, time management. I knew all the theory, Pomodoro technique, Eisenhower matrix, well versed in all of that, very structured corporate background. Fast forward to retirement, the retirement phase, not structured at all. So I made a concerted effort to become structured, setting the hours in my day to align with what might be a typical working day. No alarm clock, rising naturally with the sun, making sure that the day is structured to play to my strengths, align with my energy levels. So I started to build a structure, and the thing that I did that with is a thing called my 6-pillar operating system, which I'll tell you about next. Throughout my 50s, I built a personal operating system called the 6-pillar operating system, the 6POS. It was something to give me that structure on a daily basis. This was about breaking life down into 6 core things which I could then focus on. Pillar number 1, physical, body. That was all about making sure that I was getting the type of exercise that I wanted. For me, that's walking and weightlifting, nothing else. For you, it might be yoga, it might be Pilates, it might be cycling. There needs to be something happening every single day. You don't have to weight train every day, but you certainly have to do something every day. Weight train 2 or 3 times a week, go for a cycle ride twice a week, walk 3 times a week. Just make sure that there is a daily practice that falls under physical. The second thing is emotional, passion. Having something every single day that gets you out of bed. It doesn't have to be some grand plan. I'm going to change the world purpose. It doesn't have to be anything like that at all. That thing for me now is this YouTube channel. It does get me out of bed. I look forward to going out and recording the videos. I mean, who wouldn't? I'm sat here in a lovely place. Who wouldn't enjoy this? I certainly do. My third pillar, psychological, mental. It's all very well being physically fit. It's all very well having purpose in life, like a YouTube channel, but you've also got to grow your mind and continue to nurture a growth mindset. So this is all about reading, writing and learning. And some of the things I started to do was I started to learn Portuguese for the Portugal trips, badly by the way. I set myself a target of reading 10 pages a day of non-fiction, learn new skills and things that might come in useful. The fourth pillar, philosophical or spiritual. Now this could be prayer if you're a religious type. I'm not. As long as I'm praying to something, the sun, the universe, and being grateful for life, that's good enough for me. So that's the core of my spirituality, is just being thankful and grateful for my good fortune. Personally, I also started investigating a lot of ancient wisdom, particularly the Stoics. I love reading about the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus. I start my day being gratitude for the fact I've woken up, particularly at 65. I'm very grateful for that. And then at the end of the day, I'm thankful for the day and the things that I've done. That's that pillar. It's simple. It doesn't need to be any more woo-woo than that. Pillar number 5 is people and relationships. Even though I'm an introvert, remember, ISTJ logistician. Really, I'm starting to be able to say that one now. I'm not big on hanging out with large groups of people. I prefer smaller gatherings. I think having 0 people in your life ultimately could end up making you unhappy. So for me, this is all about cutting out people from your life that don't energize you and focusing in on spending time with people that do. If you're more of an extrovert personality, this will probably be a heck of a lot easier for you because you'll be able to network like mad. No doubt have a large network of people that you might think are friends. But for the introverts like me, this is all about focusing in on a few diamonds and nurturing those relationships, spending time with people that you love and people who love you, people who you would do anything for and who would do anything for you. Because relationships are a core pillar in my 6-pillar operating system. And the final pillar is prosperity. You could say this is money and financials, and that's certainly a big part of this pillar. But at the core of this pillar is not having a bad relationship with money. So even if money's tight, it's not worrying about it and just accepting that the universe will make it right. My experience has been this, that when I find that I worry about money, I'm less likely to attract it. When I don't worry about it and every day is just a routine day with no worry, then it seems to come my way. This is when you can investigate whether or not you should have some form of side income that can support you in your retirement phase. If you want to book in and have a chat with me, I cover that in the 90-minute Freedom Income Roadmap. It's spending time looking into how you can do it, and then going back to one of the early pillars, then learning the skills that then enable you to make that money. And that is the final pillar of the 6-pillar operating system. I hope you've enjoyed this ramble and rant as I walk down by the River Wharf in Wetherby. If you have, please leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. The other thing I'd like to know is, what's your story? If you're approaching retirement, what are you worried about? If you've already retired, how have you overcome the challenges that I've described in this video? Share to help other people. That's what this community is all about. helping each other get through this phase of life in a positive way. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time. You're doing just the right thing for retirement. Did you say they're not biting?
I've had one little pair about that sort of size. Excellent.